Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to Resource Starvation, the video game. Also occasionally referred to by its actual name, Space Haven, whose ambition can perhaps be best described as RimWorld in space. Certainly rather interesting, although at the moment it is in a fairly early access state, in an alpha state in fact, so all of the bells and whistles are not yet fully implemented. Although you can also already see a pretty damn good framework of the game to be. Obviously, being in space, you need a little bit more in the way of base building than, say, in RimWorld, in that you need an actual space ship to travel in between various systems. Otherwise, you need research stations to unlock new and fascinating things. You need operations consoles, navigation consoles, and weapon consoles to take care of the day-to-day businesses of running a spaceship, along with a significant little industrial park to turn all of the various little bips and bobs you find floating through space into actually worthwhile resources, which your crew will then devour at both a frightening and merciless pace. Oh boy, this is the first time, pretty much, I have finally arrived at a position of relative stability, although even then I am literally starving at the moment, as I am unable to produce enough fertilizer to keep the food coming, meaning that I have to prop my poor little people full of green goopy algae. Now, that gives a pretty nasty hit to their total health stat. As you can see, it wipes out 20%, of their total HP value, but on the bright side, the gooey goop has the precise same consistency, taste, touch, and, well, smell coming in as it does coming out, meaning that I can reclaim a lot of it in water, which is then stopped right back into the algae container and fed to the crew all over again. It's not a perfect cycle, but I can recoup most of my poop into food once more. Luckily, my water problems have been solved for the immediate time being, which is good because I was literally dry on water. But after a nice haul of ice and a couple of nice hauls of human bodies, which contain a lot of water, I'm now doing pretty well once again. Being in space, of course, you've got a lot of repurposing to do. You've got a composter here, which turns various biomatter, poop, into water, fertilizer, and carbon. Human bodies and aliens are also a wonderful source of these precious resources. You also need blue space rocks to be turned into blue space fuel, and green space rocks to be turned into green space fuel. One running the ship, one running the engines. And speaking of running the engines, have I charged a hyperspace jump? I have not. Let's get to that. That'll send out the call for a navigator to make its way to the navigation station. Arch is busy right now. He's probably going to... What are you going to do? You're going to repurpose some scrap. Lovely. Well, you do that, and then we'll see if we can't get a navigator going. There we are. And in just a little bit, we will have a hyperspace jump ready, and we can pop on to the larger map. There we are. So you've got a little bit of a galaxy map here, with these various systems combined to form a little galaxy here. Undoubtedly, this will be expanded upon, and further randomization will be added as the game continues through the various stages of its development cycle. Right now, zoomed in there. Right now, you've got various systems. You can see, for example, this is a Baron system controlled by a Baron of the Frontier, a rich retired owner of a large space station, or a safe militarized system, or an abundant resource system, or a pirate system, of course. You are not alone in space, as this is after the apocalypse that destroyed Earth via global warming, as per usual. So there will be a merchant... The zoom is being a little bit derpy right now. There'll be ships like little merchant convoys, military alliance, and of course pirates bumping about as well. Now, where do we want to go? This is a nice resource-rich system down here, so I think we're gonna move on over to them. And then we've got a hyperspace lane and another system there as well, and a claimable ship too. Tempting, tempting. Let's pop on into this system first and foremost. I've really hit jackpot with this nearest system here, because it is full of resources. In another playthrough, I literally died due to the inability to find water literally anywhere. Oh, somebody set fire to the water reclamation system. No worries, that happens with frightening frequency. Alright, so we have here the SGS Grosse Kurfürst from the, I believe that's the Slavers. I'll just research the assembler. Yes, that's the Slavers. We've got a little bit of... What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You really don't want to see them start deploying transport ships like that. That makes me just a tiny bit nervous, it does. How about we position ourselves to repel borders just in case here? They are the Slavers Guild, after all. Somehow, I feel like I might not be able to trust them entirely. Skepticism rising. Skepticism rising quickly. No, I think they might be heading towards the derelict. Yes, they are. Okay. Alright. Okay, fine, fair. I prefer to keep that derelict for myself, but since I'm in the actually, you know what? No. Why should we just let them have that? No. Let's get on our own transport and go and contest that a little bit, shall we? You've got various mining nodes in system. We've got some noble metals here. We've got some base metals over here, which we're going to send out mining missions for. And we've got some power metal over there. Not that kind of power metal, I wish, but it makes energy, so it's good enough. Right, let's have everybody get in here. Is the oxygen thing being derpy? No, there's oxygen in there. Ah, the oxygen just hasn't refilled there. Okay, that's fair enough, right? This is one of those little early access thing as well. For some reason, you can see the interior of ships being looted by other factions, which is a hint weird. It looks like, they're already started looting at the little bastards. Halfway tempted to declare war on them right now. I could probably take them. In fact, you know what? I think that this is my stuff right here. I definitely think that this is my stuff right here. And there doesn't seem to be any crawlers aboard. Yes. I think this is my stuff. I think this is mine. All of this is mine. Anthony has elected to surrender. I don't know if I like Anthony surrendering. Zing has not surrendered. Come on, Zing. That is, of course, a combat system, as you can see right now. They might now also decide to try and board me, but I feel fairly oh, there you go. I feel fairly confident in this engagement. Shotguns are the premier weapons here, no doubt about it. All right, two prisoners. I'm not taking prisoners at the moment. Sorry, apologies. I don't actually have a prisoner yard yet, so we're gonna have to do this the good old-fashioned way, I'm afraid. There you are. Now, usually, a lot of these places will be filled with all manners of mean alien creatures. Do we wanna? I think we might wanna. Just a little bit to the engines there, I think. There's a little bit to the engines. Wait. Derelict. Oh, hold on. I think we might have killed the entire crew there, actually. Huh. Well, that's a nice little bonus, isn't it? In fact, let's head on over there and board it. Normally, these derelicts will be filled with all kinds of evil, nasty little space monsters, which you can kill, and even more usefully, you can also take all of their bodies, butcher them, pick them apart, and then turn them into useful raw resources. Let's see what you got for me here. Anything? I think we actually managed to... Yeah, that was a two-man crew. They might have... in fact, I believe I saw this ship engage in a little bit of a battle with the military alliance earlier on. They probably suffered some heavy casualties there, as the systems, of course, are randomized. But they do, you know... They do continue... existing. Yes, that's the word. They continue existing. Ooh, no, don't destroy all of this. They are real-life breathing universes, as they say. All right, nice and clear. Fantastic. That's a jackpot right there. Okay, let's see what we've got. We've got some green, we've got green, we've got hyperfuel, 5 loads of hyperfuel. Oh, nobody minds that. And 2 human bodies. Yes, that was definitely the military alliance there then. That killed Eleonora and Lauren. You can see the body bags there. Yep, they've definitely been in a skirmish earlier. Right, well, we are going to steal literally all of that, obviously. Oh, this is unexplored. Really? I figured I'd give it a good look. We're gonna take it all because this is space. It is a harsh, hostile, unfortunate environment, and you gotta take what you can. That's just how it is. This is the merchant... no, this is the religious lunatics. They don't mind me killing a few slavers. In fact, they're probably overjoyed at it. Now, I mentioned to begin with as well that this was resource starvation in the video game, because by God, it is. You can recycle quite a lot of stuff, but you need to be constantly on the move. You cannot survive in a single system for long. You will churn through your energy, your food, your water, all of it, and your building blocks as well. You can see here that we've got hull blocks. Hull blocks are obviously made for actually making the hull by building extensions to it, like this. We can build new areas. I'm not going to do that just now because I'm kind of starving for those. You got infrastructure blocks. They are used in all kinds of internal infrastructure, like the various control panels, for example, like the food synthesizers, the construction of new spaceships. You've got tech blocks and energy blocks too. They're the next level, the second tier buildable resources, which are way rarer and can't be produced until far later down the research tree. Jesus. Here you can see the research tree. It's fairly bare bones at the moment. It's not particularly huge. You've got a little bit of robotics, you've got industry. I'm currently researching optronics fabricator right now, which will finally allow me to produce some energy cells and some optronics components, and with the advanced assembler, I'll eventually be able to make energy blocks and tech blocks as well. You've also got an enslavement facility, but right now, I don't have enough spare resources to feed my own dudes. Never mind a captured population. And you've got a botany section here as well, where you can make the basics, the root vegetables, and eventually also artificial meat for a balanced diet. I imagine eventually you're gonna have stuff like recreational stuff, like beer, wine, maybe, tier 2 food, tier 3 food, like luxury food, stuff like that. All of the usual you expect to see in these kind of survivally kind of games. You've got a very basic medical system as well at the moment, where people simply just heal using medical beds. They don't need any medical stats or anything like that. You've also got a very basic selection of weapons, 1 missile turret, 1 energy turret, and then you've got 1 level of shields and 3 levels of power generators. All of this I expect to be expanded upon later during the developmental process, of course. Your little dudes and dudettes also have their own systems. I believe I've got actually an android here. Let's have a look at Arch. He's got a bravery score of 4, which shows his chance of surrender. That's basically the amount of hit points that's going to be remaining before your dudes throw up their arms and give themselves over to the evil piratey dudes, as you saw the, not pirates, the slavers did overboard that derelict wreck right there. You've got mining, botany, construction, industry, etc. All of these are maxed out at level 3. Right now, there is very little, personality to the characters. Definitely nothing like the level of RimWorld. They don't level up beyond 3. They do have a relationship screen with the other various characters, but they don't fight each other or form rivalries or have the urge to boink one another or anything like that. It's simply just a social score that can get them to be miserable and uncomfortable. If they get miserable, their comfort stat falls, their energy stat falls, everything, so it impacts their ability to actually do their jobs. But for now, the various human beings are nothing more than little cogs in your survival machinery. Speaking of survival, you can also see the food machine over here. It'll actually have a pretty cool system that requires a balanced diet. You can see that if I click on Arch again, I go to conditions, I have a protein deficiency. That is one of the reasons why I currently have less than full health, because I'm not able to provide me with a balanced diet of fruits, vegetables, artificial meats, and nuts and seed. In dire times, you can also pop in some monster meat, though it contains a pretty hefty helping of toxins, which is not great, not fantastic, but if the option is starvation, then a little bit of toxin ain't too bad. And of course you can also indulge in a little bit of human meat as well, if you so choose. Though human meat doesn't have the usual debilitating effect it does have in real life, but the military alliance are not at all fond of ships carrying around vast quantities of alternative pork, and will carry out routine inspections of your ship and be very, very nasty with you if they find a bunch of it on board. You can also recycle some resources as well. I imagine this will be a much larger aspect of the video game eventually, where you have stuff like the gas scrubber, for example, taking CO2 out of the atmosphere and turning it into raw chemicals and carbon. You even have a machine creating carbon for an atmosphere that the plants love. And then you've got the recycler as well, and this one down here. The recycler, the proper recycler, not the compost actually. This one turns various forms of hull scrap, soft hull, energy, infra, and tech scrap into usable resources. In the case of infrastructure scrap and hull scrap, it turns them into direct building blocks for your ships, whereas in the case of energy scraps, it turns into a little bit of energium and a little bit of an infrastructure scrap. Energium, in turn, can be refined in an energy refinery into energy rods, and Hyperium can be turned into hyperfuel when you're getting it. However, it's not quite that simple. As you operate these facilities, they will give off heat, and in the case of some facilities, like the recycler, they will also give off various poisonous fumes, requiring you to have a gas scrubber in the room to take care of it. But, the heat can be hazardous to your people, but space is also cold, really cold, and unlike oxygen not included, the thermal exchange here is deeply flawed, and so heat will leave your ship, meaning that you need a constant supply of heat using, for example, the thermal regulators, but they cost energy. Right now, this one is working at 95%, meaning that it is draining the maximum amount of energy to regulate the temperature in this room right here. Whereas if I was able to run these a little bit more frequently, the energy overspill, the heat overspill, would actually be able to heat parts of my ship. This area over here, for example, is heated almost exclusively by running the X2 power generator. I do have I can't cycle through it. I can't select it. God damn it. I do have a wall heater on the wall. Oh, I'm a retard. There it is. I've got a wall heater on the wall here, but as you can see, it's only operating at 53% efficiency. So due to the existence of the engine, it doesn't actually have to burn quite as much energy keeping the place heated, which is very nice. You also need a supply of oxygen, obviously, though at the moment I am keeping the bay here dry of it because I don't really need it right now. These things will take their own oxygen out of the systems, so you don't need to constantly resupply them, though it is a nice thing to do eventually, because whenever your people have to get on spacesuits to operate into an environment like this is a spacesuit airlock right here, where they will put on a spacesuit, they will be getting a discomfort negative modifier. So you want to keep as much of your ship as livable as possible to avoid that negative modifier. But sometimes, of course, again, easy access to resources is by no means guaranteed. Right now I've got an X2 power generator, which gets a lot more power out of a lot less resources, but early on you will be burning energy like nobody's business, meaning that you want to make sure that you are using your space as effectively as you can. Right, let's continue the salvage operations here, and speaking of salvage operations, where are you? Are you out mining? Yes, you are. Okay, Ferguson, then let's draft you, pop you aboard that vessel, and make sure we've got this hulk here fully explored. Considering the slavers didn't run into any nasty bugaboos, I'm feeling pretty damn confident that Ferguson isn't going to run into anything overly uncomfortable either. And there we are, ship explored. Right. We're obviously going to transfer over everything else. Ooh, a pair of busted up androids. That is absolutely fantastic. And we're also going to salvage the vessel itself, because it's useful. It's very useful, in fact. Right, a couple of busted up androids. It's a very, very, very big deal, and actually means that I'm going to change my my priorities here a little bit, and I'm going to start researching robotics as a priority, because robotics give me ability to get the robot workbench up, which allows me to butcher androids, which is very, very good because they give you a ton of raw rare resources. I love this part, by the way. I really like how they pick apart the enemy spaceship, because it gives you a real sense that, yeah, you're in space. Everything is rare and precious. You can't grow a whole lot of stuff here. You can't mine for raw resources, except for those you can find on asteroids. So every piece of a derelict or captured spaceship is an absolutely vital raw resource that has to be salvaged. You gotta strip everything out of the ships. Okay, let's make that a priority. You gotta strip the walls, you gotta strip the doors, you gotta strip the internal heating, you gotta strip the ventilation systems, the engines, any consoles you can find. All of it needs to be broken down and turned into valuable, precious scrap to continue your own survival. I had one particularly interesting little playthrough as well, which essentially forced me into start attacking merchant vessels, and made me into a bit of a pirate because I couldn't find any goddamn water again anywhere. The only water I found was in the bodies of my slain foes, and whatever water they had aboard their ships. Sadly, the AI ships, although they are, they've got plenty of riches to make it worthwhile capturing them, they usually don't have anywhere near as much resources as they are willing to trade. We're going to have a ship popping up here soon, and then we can look at the trading system as well as I tear this ship apart. Every nut, every bolt, every screw, every bulkhead, all of it's gotta go, because I want to live. And living is not necessarily easy, particularly if you don't have all of the little bits and bobs you require. There we go, the Mass Atlantis just arrived, so let's have a look at the trade system. You can also purchase services from them, in the case that you don't have the services yourself. Right, So it's the most expensive stuff at the top and the least expensive stuff at the bottom. The various ships belonging to the various factions will have various things that they want or don't particularly need. In this case, they've actually got a decent amount of fertilizer. Meanwhile, I am starving for fertilizer, so give me all of that. They've also got some monster meat, which they don't think is particularly valuable. I, on the other hand, monster meat, that's water. That's resources. That's things I want, thank you very much. Now, how am I gonna pay for it? I definitely don't have enough credits. I do, however, have a little bit of an excess of hyperfuel, so let's just throw in one there. Hyperfuel is, of course, very valuable because it's the means through which you travel through the galaxy to gain more resources, but right now, I've got all my engines charged, I've got 8 surplus, and I still have a little bit of Hyperium I haven't transformed right yet, so that's definitely a decent trade for me. And I don't want to give away anything of the other stuff, really. I could sell the soft blocks, because I don't have a dire need for them right now, but, nah, this works. Give me your fertilizer. Unfortunately, there should be a system where, there should be a negotiation system. You can hail other ships, but right now all you can do is give them gifts and build up your relationship with them by giving gifts. Unfortunately, again, I don't have anything to spare, basically, so giving gifts is not really an option right now, at all, frankly. What you should have is a social stat, a negotiator stat, a diplomat stat, so that I could put Filbert here, for example, on the horn with the opposition vessel and go like, hey, that's a fantastic hairdo you've got there. Have you lost some weight there? I can really see you slimming down around the midriff there. And suddenly they go, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Plus 5 reputation or whatever, and that in turn will make it easier to get better deals, a little bit of a discount maybe, a slightly higher sales price, you know, the usual. That should absolutely be a thing. For now, the main thing they need to expand upon is the social interactions, the little people aboard your spaceship, making them into actual people rather than just cogs in the machinery. The combat I actually quite like. It's a little bullet spray at the moment. Whoever has the most bullets tend to win, because it'll cause this little bit of chip damage to all of the targets. And since you've got the surrender system, you don't actually need to kill the enemy, so dealing damage to them isn't necessarily the best way to win a fight. Instead, chipping away at their morale by spraying them with bullets is often a way better way of doing it. And honestly, you know, that's kinda a great idea and a good system. Because if the ultimate aim is survival, bear in mind, these aren't soldiers. This isn't a space military I'm playing as here. I'm just playing as a bunch of dudes desperately trying to stay alive in an extremely hostile universe after the collapse of Earth. Obviously, they would prioritize their own safety first, and if surrender will give them a chance at survival, obviously they're gonna take it. It's a cool system, though it needs a little bit of refining and rebalancing here and there. The research tree absolutely needs some expanding as well, some different survival options. Give me other ways of acquiring chemicals. Right now, for example, the only way I can get fertilizer is by getting chemicals. The only way I can get chemicals is by synthesizing raw chemicals, which are stupid rare in my current playthrough, but in others they've been relatively bountiful, which is also kind of a cool idea because it forces you to improvise a little bit on the fly. But give me the option to have like a energy fabricator, which is going to take a buttload of energy, or perhaps some other resource. Maybe you have to sacrifice a ton of metal, for example. Or maybe even some Hyperion, or maybe some building blocks. You know, a way to transform one thing into another that is going to be a bad trade. You're going to lose out on it, but if you're desperate, it's going to be your only option, you know? That would be cool. That's a little bit of an option. Again, make it a fairly expensive research thing, though, so as to still encourage a little bit of piracy, a little bit of privateering, a little bit of acquiring what you need through alternative means, as that is always a cool thing as well. All in all, right now the game is in a pretty damn decent state considering it's already just in alpha. And definitely worth a look. If you're interested in a bit of a RimWorld-y style game with a lot of base building, a lot of survival elements, then this is potentially for you. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on, because if it's this good in alpha, it's probably going to be really goddamn awesome when it's finally released. With that being said, I have been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till next time, have a good day.